Today's episode is Amanda Watt, and we're going to talk about how to get raw, real, and stay truly authentic. Then we're going to go through her journey of being a fitness badass to becoming the ultimate coaching badass. Hey guys, I'm really excited. Today I'm bringing you Amanda Watt. And it's kind of interesting is her and I met through that Shaper app. And I got to tell you guys, I still don't know what the hell I'm doing with Shaper, but it's bringing me podcast guests. So I guess it's working somewhat. So here's really quickly her bio. Amanda Watt, born and raised in Canada. She has been a health and wellness expert since 2003, accumulating many certifications in health, wellness, energy healing, personal development. Being a natural athlete, which I want to know more about that, at a competition level, she loves to coach, teach, and train, as well as being featured in a fitness magazine. You will find her motivating and speaking internationally. With 8 years, blah, 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 blah. Okay, girl, you just tell me your story because it's a lot better than reading it off this whole doodad. Walk us through. What's the story of Miss Amanda Watt?
Well, thank you so much for inviting me to be a guest. It's always so great to connect with people from all races, backgrounds, and everything, because as I know, what we go through, we grow through.
Oh, I love that.
And my passion, my real true passion is, we can't make all the mistakes ourselves. There's other people that make the mistakes and we need to learn from them.
Right.
So in my experience in life, my story, I go back to when I was a peewee softball player. I pulled my groin at home as a back catcher, and I got into health and wellness then. I've seen my first massage therapist. So I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do with my life at that time because I didn't know what career path I wanted to take. So I wanted to take the shortest version that I could get to something that was career and get out there. So I became a massage therapist. Took a 6-month course, got into the health and wellness industry, yet I just never stopped learning. I got into different modalities. I went on and I became what I like to call it is a personal development whore. And
I love that.
What I learned is I didn't like school. I hated school. I hated being there. You could talk to my principal. I was like, an athlete, but I go to physical education class, yet give my half-ass effort. Even though I knew I could just go, but I just didn't want to be there. Yet little did I know, since I got out into the adulting world, I haven't stopped learning. And so for myself, I just dug in with personal development, through the journey, through the healing. And as a massage therapist, when they would talk, I would talk. And I realized that it's not just physical pain that we suffer. There's mental, emotional, spiritual, financial. It all ties together. So when they would talk, I would talk, like I said, but I became a coach before I even knew I would become a coach.
That's so awesome.
So 7 years ago, I really dug into the personal development world. I've been through relationships I became a healer. So I date 2.5 years, I'd heal them up and then need to go on to something more. So I really had to dig into what was it about me so that I could prosper and I could grow. And when I dug into the personal development, I got real and raw with myself. I stopped beating my head against the wall. I stopped spinning myself in circles and really turned inward. And one of the things that changed my life was my brother actually said, "You're nothing but a selfish bitch."
Oh, that'll do it.
And you know what? That was the best thing that's ever happened to me. So many people would think like, oh my goodness, like how did you respond to that? That made me dig in deeper to understand what am I putting out to the world? Because we walk around all the time and people are judging, people are doing this. And, what are you really projecting to the world and why am I a selfish bitch? What I realized through that experience, it wasn't selfish, it was self-respect.
Oh, that's deep. That's huge.
Right? And not everybody understands that. You may want to do things for you, but you get punished for it. I've always been a real, raw, tell it like it is person, and I got punished for it. So when I went through my first seminar, I went through a process in the second segment of it that was personality colors. And I realized that I'm happy-go-lucky, fly by the seat of my pants, yet at the same time I'm so real and raw. Not everybody wants to know that. It's not what you say, it's how you say it and when you say it.
Absolutely.
So I've just grown so much through that. And I still haven't really spoke with my brother in the 7 years. Yet at the same time, I have forgiveness. I found so much clarity within me. And now the circle that I surround myself with are those same people that have walked those walks. And so when I coach, as I got into life coaching and health and wellness and development coaching, I love to dig deep with people, ask the hard questions. I found my place of my real and raw to be able to rip back those masks, to really get to the root problem so that people can grow, so that people can let go of their old baggage and be able to become who they are right now, not because of their circumstances and situations, but allow them to be what pushes you to be who you are and what you deserve in life.
Dude, I love that. And you got so many things in there that I'm going to come back and grab through there. I freaking love this. I love it when somebody you can tell is just completely adamantly passionate about, their story, how they're, bringing their gifts to the world. It's just a beautiful, beautiful, amazing thing. Talk to me a little bit about the self-discovery after, your brother calls you a selfish as hell. I mean, my brothers and I are tough on each other all the time. And I can, call each other assholes and everything else. And we're always going to walk away and still love each other, still embracing it. But for you and your brother, I mean, that was obviously a right hook. Both mentally and, with your relationship. How do you go from something that's that strong and that potent and chalk it up as a learning experience, be able to take that and go, okay, now let's use it? How do you make that transformation?
I found my first life coach. And when I started working with her, I, poured out everything. And as soon as I started digging, it's the hardest work you'll ever do in your life, but it is the most rewarding work you'll ever do in your life.
True.
And through that, I know the relationship that we had. I was his little sister. He's 10 years older than me. And I was that little girl I was the tomboy. I was bullied for being the tomboy, but I also took that into greatness too, because it gave me that tough. It gave me that strength. So when I really dug into myself and what I was doing, I understood everything so much more. But I tell you, there was times I was kicking and screaming when I was doing it. I was laying on the floor like a 3-year-old. I really truly remember laying on the floor and I kicked a hole in the door of my closet because I was so frustrated. Yet then the breakthrough that come from it has been so amazing. And lots of times in our life, we don't want to deal with us.
Right.
We don't want to deal with those hurts. We don't want to, I always tell clients, you got to rip off the Band-Aids so you can give some air to those wounds to heal.
Well, and that's interesting because I think a lot of people go through life, and I talk about this in a lot of these podcast episodes because it's just a reoccurring theme, but is people go through life wearing these masks and they're so scared to let the world see who they truly are, that because they're worried that people won't like that authentic, person that they are. How did you really learn to be that authentic self? And I know you say you get raw and real with other people, but to me it really sounds like you learned to get raw and real with yourself first.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely.
How did you do that? I mean, that's not something it's naturally ingrained in people because we're taught that, hey, you don't do certain things in public and, from our parents and everything else. So how did you learn to really get that authenticness out of you?
Honestly, when I learned about personality colors, that everybody has a different walk of life, I give myself the forgiveness. I became vulnerable, and knowing that my story and what I've been through can help heal other people, because I'm not the only one. You're not the only one that's going to go through what you've gone through. Yet to reach out and to be able to share that with other people, to give them permission to heal, and have those hurts and to rip off those masks to heal, that's really truly where I realized it. And that it's okay to be me. It's okay to be somebody that takes 9 or 10 or whatever different certifications, still truly finding me. And
right.
And when I let that defensiveness go, I have another brother that's 8 years older than me, and he's like, Amanda, you're not so defensive anymore. Because I realized when I became defensive, I had to dig in deeper with me. Why am I being defensive? For every finger pointed, there's 3 pointing back. And I make damn sure that if there's 3 pointing back at me before something spits out of my mouth, I gotta feel and see what's inside me. And if it's about me, if it's really about them. Because all the stuff that we go through in life, will build up. And that leads me into relationships. I had to go back to in a seminar, I had to go back to the first guy that cheated on me. And that's where the hurt and the trust issues came from. So I explain it like this. It's like pulling out the bottom of the Jenga puzzle. We need to pull that really bottom root problem for it to all crash down so we can build up our foundation of who we truly are. Our situations and our circumstances that happen don't need to define the future and the goals that we desire.
Oh, that's beautiful, because that's so true. But I think people are so scared to pull that bottom block, right? Because they don't want to. They don't want to know what's underneath there, right? And they're scared to face that demon, that thought, that thing. How do you encourage somebody to actually have the guts, or in my world, have the balls to actually pull that block out?
Ask the hard questions. And you know what? Asking the questions that other people don't have the balls or guts to ask. You know, some people absolutely despise and hate me, and then they end up loving me because it gives them that freedom. So I'm really looking for the freedom that they're looking for. You know, talking with people, where do you want to go and how are we going to get there? Big picture, right? But what steps are we going to take to get there? And asking those hard questions, but yet in that experience, that well-rounded, loving, caring, supportive way, and making them have such a comfort. I mean, I was in the nail industry as well, and my ex, he would say, how did they just open up and tell you this? Just being open to receive. I live a life of no judgment. Everybody in life has gone through something. Everybody's a somebody, and having no judgment of what your story is. I mean, you could be on the streets doing drugs. You could be with however many different partners. Hey, that's your story. That's not mine to judge on. So you be you. And if that's what's giving you fulfillment in life, great. But if it's not, let's really go back to the real root of the problem. Why are you doing that? And are you getting what you want in life?
Talk to me about this journey. I mean, so I love the philosophy. It's not mine, that everybody's on this journey, right? And, you know, if you haven't, go to YouTube and just, you know, type in finding your journey or something like that. And just, it's some great philosophy. But so everybody's on this journey, and, you know, people are learning along the way. People don't understand that the shit that happens to them along their story is really what's going to lead them to greatness.
Oh, absolutely. That so excites me when you say that.
Right?
It's so true.
So walk me through it, because I just love your passion. So
you know what? When I mentioned my magazine article, I always wanted to be in the fitness world. I mean, I was an athlete my whole life, but I got to tell you this. The first time that I went on stage was overcoming being bullied. That's what I dedicated it to. Second time was suicide awareness, because there was parts of my journey that I was, you know, why am I here? And the third time was believing in myself. And after I stepped off stage then, I really realized that I've taken my pain, I've found my passion to flourish my life in journey's purpose. And when you really can zone into what your purpose is, a lot of people flail around, you know, what's my purpose? I didn't know for so long what my purpose was. Since 7th grade, I had a fear of public speaking. Last year, actually, I was at a seminar and the gentleman said, you're going to be speaking tomorrow in front of 500 people. All right. I just had to own it and do it. And when I went up there and I didn't let fear take over. You know, some of the most fearful things that we have bring us to greatness, like you said, in our journey. And when we can really, really lock arms and go forward with that, I mean, it really kicks open the door. And for myself now, it was like the floodgates opened, and it was like, dang, why was I holding on to that past for so long when I can now see where I'm going? But yet in 7th grade, I had to talk about something I didn't care about, something I didn't know about. Now for me, having this, you know, podcast and being invited to speak wherever in the world, if I can just share my journey, if I can share who I am authentically, wow. I didn't know that motivational public speaking could be so simple.
Well, and I think a lot of people get hung up on, I don't want to be a motivational speaker. I don't, you know, want to do all this stuff. And it's not about being a motivational speaker. It's about just delivering your story in a way that you being authentic, you being real, it inspires others to, even if they don't want to go on stage, just embrace that. As I love telling people, is unleash your inner badass, because
Absolutely.
you're all badasses. I mean, you all got great things, and the more that you just authentically put yourself out there, the world's going to show up, and your people are going to show up, and y'all are going to rise together. It's a beautiful thing.
And everybody deserves to be that badass. We
Absolutely.
all have badassery inside us in one way, shape, or form. Yours is going to come across differently than mine, but we're not robots. We
Right.
have been so programmed our life to, what are you going to do after school? Are you going to do this? You know what? Who knows? People change jobs and people change careers. People change relationships all the time. And I love that not long ago I said, you know what? When I choose to get married, because I've been through 3 engagements, let's be honest, I didn't walk down the aisle.
Oh, so you're practiced at it now.
Oh yeah, I've got that. I've been, and it's in so many people. Are you scared of commitment? You know what I realized is that I outgrew the relationship before making that commitment. And some people are like, wow, is that ever genius? And a lot of people I took so much flack for. When are you going to get it right? When are you going to do this? You know what? Just be you. Be authentically you, and your journey will happen as it's supposed to, when it's supposed to, and your purpose will all align when you be you.
Yep. 100% agree. I mean, you're doing all this cool stuff. You're being a life coach. You're helping people with their stories. Why do people need a life coach? I think a lot of people get hung up on the whole idea of a life coach. Is somebody's going to, get in touch with my feelings and blah, blah, blah. And this is coming from a Marine. And, I remember the first time I talked to a life coach, I'm like, get the hell out of here. I'm not going to freaking unload my feelings to your candy ass, right? Yeah. So I think a lot of people struggle with that same thought process as I have. How do you get them past that, they could really use somebody like you?
Well, first and foremost, it's aligning with somebody that's appropriate for you. And you may go through a lot of people that, like you said, how's your candy ass going to support me? But is that your ego speaking, or what are you really hiding behind?
Oh, it's 100% the ego.
Right? And finding that fit. Not everybody's going to like my style. Not everybody's going to like your style. On my website, I even say badass. So I love that you use that word badass, because not everybody's going to, they may even have a judgment of the language. But really, is that getting them more of what they want in their life?
Well, and that's interesting you said, as I had a fun conversation on another podcast I was on, and they're like, why do you say some of the things I do? I'm like, because I immediately self-select, right? And I'd rather, walk up to somebody and say, look, I just help badasses go kick more ass in life. And you can tell it instantly, because the people that get it are like, they'll step forward and they're like, okay, let's run. And the people that are not, they self-qualify. So
well, and do you want to just keep lingering in your own bullshit? Because really, It's your own bullshit.
Absolutely.
And if you don't get out of your bullshit, nobody's going to get you out of it. You need to take your own life by the balls and go.
So what the hell is a natural athlete?
A natural athlete? When I competed, I didn't have any steroids or anything like that. So I'm a very natural, I go to even for supplements, vitamins and everything, just natural. Nothing has any extra anything in it, any chemicals and whatnot.
So you basically lived off water?
No. I basically lived off clean eating, and I loved it. Actually, with my health issues, I was at my best when I had the right portion size, had the right, balance of protein, carbs, and sugars and everything, because so many people are so unaware of what they're putting in their mouth. When they say abs are made in the kitchen, literally, they're made in the kitchen. And you can ask my first coach.
So are little party kegs too. I mean.
Right? So you get to choose what you want. You get to choose.
Right.
And if you ask my first coach, she couldn't because going to the gym is not my love. But
I think it's not a love for a lot of people. So I think you're not alone in that.
But I was on point all the way through and dropped down exactly as she wanted to, because I chose to eat the foods that were on my plan and stay strict with it, drink the water, have the hydration, and really take care of me. But I want to say that competing and anything we do in life, starts with the mindset.
Oh.
What are you doing it for? Are you going out there just to look hot and just to get ripped? Or what is your purpose? And I talked to somebody at a competition and she's like, we are batshit crazy, aren't we? She's like, why are you so happy? I said, what are you doing this for? And my reasonings, as I explained earlier, the 3 times that I went on stage wasn't for anything other than overcoming obstacles and being able to prove to myself and set those goals, those personal goals.
That's awesome. So, a lot of people they struggle with being, putting themselves out there and all this. How does somebody that maybe doesn't have the big life experiences, they don't have the tragic story? I mean, I grew up, and I love telling this, I grew up in middle America, the bottom end of middle America, and so I never really had the hardship lives. I didn't have the bullying type things, I was so I didn't have those traumatic experiences in life to really bolster my things. So I had to lace up my boots, if you will, to get after it. How do you take somebody that maybe doesn't have the life experiences and stories and get them to get after life because there's nothing kicking them in the ass to move?
Right. And you know what? I can relate because my parents are still together. I had a healthy upbringing. I don't have the traumatic stories that some people do with rapes, abuses, and drugs and gangs and all this kind of stuff. But you know what? Even in my perfect, household and being treated so well, there's still flaws. And really the flaw that I found was our communication level. To this day, it's still that struggle. So it may not be a huge story, but it's each and everybody's personal story. It's their personal hurt. I mean, for me, I love you wasn't something that's told all the time. I can say it to my friends and everything else, and I remember, I was going to the second segment of our seminar, and I was leaving, and I was like, okay, love you, Dad. Dropped my dog off, was walking out the door, and he just looked at me and stared at me. And it killed me. But what I learned from it was in his experience in life and his journey, you only know what you know.
Right.
And that wasn't something that was taught, and that maybe wasn't something that was said unless it was in a tragedy or this or that. So even though lots of us don't have the traumatic life experiences, any hurt can't be minimized.
Truth. So what do people get if they actually sit down and work with a life coach? I mean, what are they hoping to accomplish? Why do they need them?
I can only speak from my personal experience, obviously,
Wise.
and working with me. And I only know what I know. I can't speak on what you know, or I can only speak on my experience and what I know. What they'll get working with me is really digging up those old roots, digging up those old hurts and flourishing from it. The experiences and the lessons that we learn in life are just that. They don't have to haunt us forever. I'll tell you this example. I was coaching in Texas last week at a seminar, and there was a relationship in the room that was identical to a relationship I had. And I felt so involved in them because I understood him and I understood her. But at the same time, because I found forgiveness and a healing within me, I didn't want to throat punch him. I needed to heal. We need to heal ourselves.
Well, if you would have, I wish you would have filmed it, 'cause that's great YouTube material.
And he knows it too. I even told the gentleman, I'm like, you are my ex, but I said, I have so much love and care for where you're at, and I can understand and hear you because I healed. And once coaches, in my experience, once I've healed through those, I can teach and train and coach through them because of the experiences that I've been through. So what each individual life coach, like I said earlier, you need to interview your life coach. You need to really connect with what their story is. You need to connect on a level if you're going to be even able to accept them. If you have woman problems, if you hate your mother, you're likely not going to want a life coach that's a woman, because are you going to hear? Yet, I want to say on the flip side, if you can safely go through the process with a woman of respect, you are going to explode in your experience. Because I've had experiences whereas I be the mother and speak to them like I was that mother, for them to heal in a safe place, to be able to go back to their actual mother and have a conversation instead of blowing up and wanting to rip their faces off and yell at them and scream at them and whatever. Because when we have that sense of healing in a safe environment, we become so much more to be able to share and impact the world.
Absolutely. And you bring up a really cool point that I don't think a lot of people think about is you should really do due diligence on the coach you hire. There's a lot of snake oils in the coaching business. And I don't know if this number's true, but I've been told in my market, the Dallas-Fort Worth market, that there's like something like 100,000 coaches in this market. But that includes like high school coaches and everything else in there. And I know for a fact that 100,000 coaches, most of them are shit, right? There's just not that many good coaches out there that can give value and advice, or are broke, not living what they're teaching, those type of things. So how does somebody do due diligence on choosing a coach to make sure that they not worthy, but they've at least got the knowledge and experience to get them where they need to go?
Personally, for me, I have a 30-minute complimentary connection. So you get to know each other, and when you're coming into that life coach and you're coming in, you know what you want or where you're at, ask the hard questions to the coach. See what they're at, because they may have all the credentials in the book or the world or whatever and have XYZ behind their name, but that don't mean that they're going to connect with you. That doesn't mean they're going to have the value that you need to go to that next level. Absolutely. And,
I would add on there is never go into that coaching conversation, especially that initial one everybody calls like that strategy session. Never go into that being the interviewee, right? Go in there being the interviewer. Whether, because at the end of the day, you're fixing to trade money for somebody to authentically help you. And if they don't understand how to handle that conversation, it's a good indicator they're not the right person for you.
Absolutely. And a good coach will also say, you know what, maybe you're not the fit for me, but I know so-and-so, and I know, and just being respectful and not just grabbing the money and going.
Right. And I would always challenge everybody, go through 2 or 3 coaches to find the one that's going to be a good fit for you, because, my style, like we said earlier, my style, your style, other coaches' style just may not be a fit for you. You need to find that person that is going to connect and help you grow with everything you're doing.
And some people, sorry to interrupt you, but some people are going to take you to a certain level, and you're going to need to go on to another situation or circumstance for somebody else to take you to another level.
Yes. And I tell everybody, you should absolutely outgrow your coach.
Absolutely.
Any coach that wants to say, hey, we're going to be together forever and this, that, and the other, fire them immediately.
Right.
Because it's usually a coach that's broke and is desperate as hell trying to figure out, how to make a living. Yeah. So are you doing a lot of public speaking? I know you said you were just down here for an event in Texas.
Trying to fill up in my calendar, absolutely. And you know what? One of the things with the law of attraction in the universe is when you put it out there, it's going to come back. Once you declare it, it's going to come back. And I did some new goal setting just a couple months ago, and I set out how many different countries I wanted to speak in this year and where I wanted to make myself available. And within 24 hours, I had 2 Facebook messages from just random complete connections that is like, I love your style. I've been watching you. I know, and places I didn't even know where. I had to look them up on the map where in the world they were. So having no expectation, but being able to open that up and really stepping into my greatness. And now that I have the belief within me, I'm ready to roll. I blocked it for so long. Like I said earlier, I was scared shitless of public speaking.
Right. What does that mean, stepping into your greatness?
Stepping into your greatness and your belief and your knowing of who you are. We get beat down in life so much. It's such a negative world out there. Yet when you can overcome and really go back to your core and your roots of what your passion is and what you have to offer to the world. Yeah, I know I can be a great massage therapist. I have been, and I don't downgrade that, but I also don't get that cocky, arrogant attitude either. I always say, I just be me. I just sit back and really neutral and be neutral in the world because I'm here to serve. And if I can inspire and empower and enrich other lives in whatever form that is with coaching, that's just to be in my greatness and just own it, like zone in on it. And when you really have that passion, it really isn't work. I mean, I could sit here and do this all day because I want to take people to that next level. I want them to heal their hurts. Nobody needs to or deserves to just sit in their filth and sit in that shit pile. Let's derail it. Let's clear that junk out and really look forward of what we deserve and desire, and those goals, those dreams, those desires. And I always say, making dreams reality.
That's beautiful. Why do you think people wallow in their shit? I mean, why do we think they don't, in some cases, even try to get out of it?
You know what? It becomes a real easy question for me. It's because who they're comfortable with surrounding themselves with. I always say, you got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to be uncomfortably comfortable to grow. And so many people get stuck in the mundane and, maybe their parents or their supporters, don't have that vision or that, goal or dream to push them further. And honestly, people just enable them to stay stuck. And a lot of people don't want you to grow. A lot of people, because then you're going to change, and where's my friend going to go? Where's my family member going to go? They're going to be better than me. I need to hold them back. So really, they stay stuck because of who they're surrounding themselves with.
Yeah, no, I agree. And a lot of people don't, I mean, everybody's heard, you become the 5 closest friends you surround yourself. I mean, it's been thrown around for years. Mm-hmm. I don't think a lot of people believe it. Because they stay there, because they struggle with the thought processes of, that's been my best friend since I was, in the 2nd grade. Or, I know that buddy would take a bullet for me, or, that family member, we took baths together when we were 2 years old, all those type of things. Yeah. How do you separate from those type of people so you can continue on your journey? And in addition to that, but why can't I take them with me? Which is the second end of that.
One of the things that I learned a couple years ago, and I heard it lots of times, is people are here for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. But when I really understood the season or reason or a lifetime and didn't take it personally, that's when I learned that I love and care for them, and I will always love and care for them, but they may not be in my everyday world. Even my family. There's lots of times they're not in my everyday, every month world. But that doesn't mean I don't love and care for them. And really, I had to zone in on quality, not quantity.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I don't tell this out there, but I'm throwing it on my podcast because you might as well be authentic and raw, is, you're going to be around your family. They're your family, right? Especially if you're close. Because my family's very, very close. Mm-hmm. And what I've learned to do is learn to separate conversations. Your family members, if they're good, like mine are, support everything you do. But there's certain topics you don't bring up because their own level of beliefs bring out, and then they're always so gracious and kind and wanting to support and give advice, but they're giving advice at the level they understand.
That's where the top of their cap is.
Absolutely.
And it's sealed.
Absolutely.
And I love that you say that, because what really got brought up to me, and I know this from my experience when I talk about the communication in my family, what has been in my blood and my DNA is, if I do a sporting event or if I have that structure, my parents have always been there.
Right.
Their communication may not be there on the daily, but yet no matter what, I have to get out of my own way and communicate back and learn that and grow myself to be able to sometimes teach them and to communicate with them and to ask them that, but always being there to support when it really truly matters.
Sounds like you and I have a very similar philosophy, because to me that's kind of like home base. No matter where you go, no matter where you climb, that's home base. And I think that if people embrace the idea of people around you, you can't carry them along for the ride with you, but they can grow if they embrace your actions, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's really tough when you have a belief and you see the vision. Like, people say, I want to do this. And I'm like, I believe in you. You can get there, but whether they believe in themselves.
Yes. And sometimes it's even one step beyond belief is they may believe all day long, but refuse to take the action. Because at the end of the day, everything comes back to if you don't move, then you will stay exactly where you are.
And so many people idolize other people. Instead of idolizing, start taking action and where you want it for your DNA, for your blueprint of your life. I mean, I travel all over. People see my journeys and they're, watching and, must be nice. That'd be so cool. What's holding you back? It's a choice. Life is a choice. I know you may have children. I know you may have this. And it's not saying that other people don't want to have your life, but really owning in on what you have. And if it's not what you have, what can take you to that next level to take action?
Absolutely. So you're talking about these journeys, these travels, these places you go. Tell me a little bit about it. What are you doing in these places? Where are you going? All that fun stuff.
I make connections everywhere I go. I love to connect with people. And I always tell everybody is a somebody. It doesn't matter if it's a dump truck driver or whatever. There's always going to be a purpose for every connection you have. So a lot of the times I'm coaching. A lot of the times I'm going to events. And through the events and meeting people, I love it that I meet so many people that I can travel. For instance, I was just down in Texas and I drove down from Canada. And along the way, I had...
How long of a drive was that?
It was 32 hours, I think.
Yeah, that's way too long on the road. Go ahead.
I love it though, because it's a clarity time for me.
Right.
I know if I get in my rut, I get on the road and a wide open road and some music and just some soul food, that just gets me going. So along the journey, I always have people to stop and see. 99% of the time, I've been blessed that I don't have to stop and have a hotel room. There'll be somebody, if I plan it out properly, there'll be somebody that'll be like, you better stop in and see me. And I'm like, you're stuck with me. I might be there for a few days.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And what a way to add to your story, by somewhat living through the stories of others and getting to know them on their journey and travels.
It's really cool. It's really cool to understand that because, like I said, we come from a background that's been healthy, healthy in my world. I had a steady home and whatnot, but to hear other stories and really see what they've lived through and gone through, that you're not just in your own little bubble. There's so much happening out there. It's not just in the movies. The things that are happening in life in the movies are happening in life.
Right.
And people are really living that in their experience. So really giving me the clarity, the understanding, and just having so much gratitude and having so much thanks to the little things. It really comes down to the little things in life and not just the materialistic, traveling this and that and whatever. It's really connecting with the people and hearing their stories, seeing their journeys, and really understanding where they come from.
Beautiful. So where's all this leading to? Where's the adventure in your journey? Where's it taking to you? What are you taking on? What are you accomplishing? Where are you going?
Where am I going? I'm going motivational speaking, honestly, and coaching all over the world. I have connections in Australia, UK, Africa right now, and just having those alignments just to be able to go see those worlds. I am truly a gypsy soul, and I never knew that that's what I was going to be, but in love, but being able to just hone in on live life to the fullest. I've had health issues for the last couple years, and my dad actually said, are you sure you should be going there? Are you sure you should be that far away? And you know what? What I have to tell people is you can't wait for a doctor to tell you to start living. You can't wait for that prescription or that health challenge that you're having. I mean, I just got a phone call yesterday. I need to go see my surgeon next week, but I didn't allow that to hold me back because we never know we never know what this afternoon's going to bring, and to just be fulfilled. And if I'm fulfilled, that the day that it happens, I've accomplished. I could have more on my bucket list and whatnot, but being fulfilled in making those dreams reality.
That's beautiful. So how do people get in touch with you, and if they want to coach with you, get to know you, follow your journey, what do they do to keep up to date with you?
The simplest way is my website, www.askAmandaDanielle.com. And on there, I have all the connects to my social media. My email's on there, my phone number's on there. And anybody internationally, worldwide, we get on Zoom calls. I coach on Zoom calls so we can see each other in video. And if I'm in your area, then we can meet and have face to face. But with technology these days, it's wide open. The door is wide open. And so those are the ways to connect with me. Everything's on my website, and Amanda Danielle Watt on Facebook, on Instagram.
So as we wrap this whole thing up, and this has been a lot of fun, so thank you for coming on. What if you could give somebody one piece of just advice that they could take with them on the rest of their journey so they could continue to move forward, embrace life, and run like hell towards it, what would you tell them?
Never, ever, ever give up. Every step of the journey is the journey. Every up, every down, every U-turn makes you who you are today. And in closing, like I said earlier, take your pain, find your passion, and flourish your life and journey's purpose.
That's awesome. Thanks, Amanda, for being on the show.
Absolutely a pleasure.
Wow, what a badass episode. Guys, please keep Amanda in your thoughts as she recovers from a major surgery today. Give her some love on this episode, comment, shout her out, and share it to the world.